Good evening. It's June 6th. And you know what tomorrow is? It's Trey Nick's time in front of the election or ethics commission. Now, welcome to the Alan Osborne show. It's going to be an interesting show. It may even break the number of views of Boots's Let's Get It On show. And it's related to the same show. Why do I have an old commissioner's picture up here? Because these are the people that are involved in tonight's subject, and Mr. Drake and Miss Johns are not one of them. At the center of the subject will be to my far left and my far right. Those two distinguished vertically challenged men today will show you that their minds are also challenged. I will challenge myself not to cuss so much. I'm going to challenge myself not to drop the F-bomb. But I'm grinning ear to ear about a loss tomorrow. You see, I wrote an ethics commission on Nick with about 5 charges on it. And they've never investigated. In fact, they called me and accidentally called me thinking I was Nick, telling me not to worry about it. They were going to investigate only one subject of it. And I told them I couldn't give them all the information yet. I also told them in my complaint that I had videos and other information, but I had to limit my complaint. Well, they decided to investigate it without getting all the rest of the documents and dismissed part of it. So tomorrow, without an interview from me, and the Ethics Commission claims they don't need to interview me. So I got ambushed. So Nick's going to Nick, I hope you get up and drive to Tallahassee in the morning. And at 10 a.m., it's probably going to be Clay or Shipman or one of them flunkies or somebody from Matthews representing you. And you're going to stand up there. Hell, it might even be Heather Maxwell. Just know that they didn't investigate a damn thing. But you can grin all you want to, Trey boy. Because you know what's going to happen? Tonight we're going to have a new edition of the Alan Osborne Show. And instead of me just ranting and rave, I'm going to read from the public record. It'll be like fireside chats. You know those things that kind of calm you down? But it's election year, and if you'll hold on just a second. This is how Trey came into office. Look at young Trey, all innocent looking, got a coat on, got a pen in there. He's prepared to do business. Even got the bifocal glasses that you split in the middle. He's ready to be part of the game. And phony Tony, Boots is dumb, Barker quits, but they're all in this. And I've got Danny Glidewell's caught lying in deposition. So we're going to discuss the Maxwell case. So hold on. Here we are. The distinguished Trey, a veteran of politics. Redistrict out of his job, Trey's going to come blazing back. But you know something, Trey? You know what I'm about, don't you, Trey? You know, a lot of people go, Trey's a good guy. Well, he might be, but he's bad for government, and so is Tony. And it's election season, and the facts matter. So tonight, under Fireside Chats and the theme of just calm things and a book of readings, just consider me like Captain Kangaroo. And for you, you young people be lost on that, but I'm just going to read like Morgan Freeman does, except, boy, I don't sound like Morgan Freeman, do I? Damn it. Hey, Trey, and I'm going to read this. Won't you just drop the hell out of the race and go back to catching crabs in the bay you helped pollute? That'd be a good thing for you. And then, Chucky, I'm coming for you next with the tax liens, but today's public record is about the Maxwell case and the hundreds of thousands of dollars spent and what the public ought to really know about what occurred and what was going on and how your government ran under these people who would like to lead it again. So without further ado, hold on just a second. Without further ado, we'll hear from the new style of Alan Osborne Show for Fireside Chats. A reading from the Book of Public Records on the Maxwell case. Pardon me. And you know, I want to preface some of the things I'm about to read. I'm just going to read them verbatim. These were written on county documents at county time. And these are written, and some of this stuff's written between commissioners. Hey, you reckon some of these posts are, y'all have to decide, is this post following, is it county business? Because if it is, Trey and Tony were communicating directly. I'm just not sure that if the stuff I'm going to read tonight, and maybe you, the viewers, can help the Alan Osborne Show in determining, are Trey and Tony breaking the Sunshine Law? And who else is? And is this how you want your government run? So without further ado, We'll proceed with fireside chats, and for the other people who don't know me, this ain't about me. But if you're wondering, I spent about 35 years of my life in the Department of Defense, and the Constitution matters to me. Spent a lot of time in bad parts of the world dealing with bad people, and just really don't want to deal with bad people in my government. And that being said, the Constitution in America is about equality. But equality is not inside a group, it's not inside a religion, it's inside a concept of the Constitution. And although I hear the words on the radio, and people call me hillbilly and redneck and whatever, and it bounces off me like a rubber to glue, and bounces off me and sticks on you. But I want to point out that in my time in the military, I served with a lot of people. I came from a small community, and it was limited in its culture. But the people I served with in the United States military, in both the Army and the Air Force, and especially in the Special Operations Command assignments, which was most of my career, they were from all walks of life, and they were from all colors. And the people who were black, brown, or a different shade of white or yellow or whatever color of the rainbow you were, we had many cultures and many religions. But we were all there for the Constitution. And when you're in a leadership position, if you see people as not being equal to you, or at least deserving of the same enforcement of the rules with the same policies and procedures, then you're not for the Constitution, and that is the point tonight. I didn't just serve along white guys who were hillbillies from the mountains of the Blue Ridge Parkway. I served beside all walks of Americans from all religions. And but never once did my beeper go off because of the misbehavior of Americans. It was always the misbehavior of our enemies or people who would do harm to Americans. And the things I'm going to read you go against people who would want equality. Do they hear these words on the radio? They do. But they are not in the context of what I'm about to read you from the public record. So without further ado, welcome to Fireside Chats by Alan Osborne. Okay, I'll turn your attention to the Maxwell case that's been settled and paid out. Why was it settled and paid out? I think it was paid out as hush money and settlement money because I think Miss Maxwell was in the wrong in many things she did, and so were the commissioners. So they all shook hands and paid her with your tax money. I think this is wrong, and it's happened many times. So this is a book from the court records, from documents obtained that are in the files and can be verified as, and nobody, Trey, Nick, and the Walton County BCC have not challenged these documents as fake or AI generated. In fact, they were pulled under, I believe, under court order or court request for productions. And without ado, so we'll take ourselves back in time to a Saturday, and on a DC trip where the delegation of Walton County, and Mr. McCormick, you get a pass today because you weren't on this trip. So Boots couldn't have been guilty of any of this. I'll just give him a freebie. And Boots, here you are seeing the people that you've trusted what was going on behind your back. You should have trusted different people, Boots, but you can't fix stupid. And without a doubt, so here we are. Saturday, 7:16 p.m. Trey Nick writes to Tony Anderson about being in Washington. He says, Tony, quote, plenty of niggers out this evening. And Tony writes back, quote, violation with 3 exclamation marks. I guess Tony thought there was too many of them out too. Then Tony, quote, we're en route back to the boat to ride to the hotel or to the hotel. Trey responds to Tony's complaint and says, in a picture of 2 black guys riding in cars. Tony, realizing his error in responding to Nick's text, fails to respond. So Nick prompts Tony later and says, 18 minutes later at 7:47, just them monkeys at the circus across the street. We're waiting for the shuttle to pick us up, and a picture of some black guys in a car is posted. Now, Trey Tony, is this why you suddenly got on the defense to cover up the Maxwell suit? And how could Tony and Trey vote to settle this? Because this is all in their Maxwell suit. And so that's one issue tonight. Now people say, oh, that's fake. It's not. And I could have given this to the Elections Commission, but when I couldn't produce it for the Elections Commission because the hearing is tomorrow. And after a long time of trying to get this and they wouldn't turn it over, I got it 2 days. And after, it's too late to turn over to the Ethics Commission. How convenient, Walton County. Congratulations to the legal people who turned it over like they were supposed to. Good job. So we're going to switch gears just a little bit, and we're going to get past how Trey feels about different colors of the spectrum. And Trey, what were you and Tony thinking? Was that you just didn't like all them people in D.C.? Were you going to send that to Matt Gaetz so you could tell him that, hey, he need to clean that up, these violations that you and Tony have pointed out? How do you people feel about that? Is that really what we want in our government? So hold on. Now we're going to pick up for tonight's second part of our fireside chat. We're going to discuss these public records, also from the same lawsuit where hundreds of thousands of dollars were paid out in damages, and God knows what was spent on lawyers and litigation. And we couldn't touch, we were kept from it. You wonder why some of these other officials who've had access to this, I always wondered if that text existed about what Nick said. I always wondered if Anderson got it, why he never reported it, and we know why now. Because Anderson thought it was a violation of what Nick saw. He supported it. So here it gets interesting. The rest of the part of the lawsuit is, one of the things besides Boots hitting on Maxwell, and I'll probably put that as part of a second show since Boots ain't on this issue right here, and Boots wasn't part of this. I'll just give Boots a pass and do his separately. So anyway, we'll just stay on Trey Boy here. Okay, Trey Boy. Or Sugar Booger. Should I call you Sugar Booger? Will that be okay? Are you Sugar Booger? But Trey, don't call me my love, okay? Please don't do that. You can call me Sugar Booger, or you can answer to Sugar Booger. But so we'll get into that. Anyway, I'm ahead of myself. Well, I should slow down. So I've got these texts from the lawsuit, and this is from Tony's aide to Miss Maxwell, who's suing the county. She tells Tony's aide, they're trying to fire me. Dee Dee just called me. So this must be before Dee Dee got fired. What? Says Tony's aide. Give me a second. I'll call you right back. She says, okay. Are you going to the budget workshop? Yeah, but I'm in Freeport. You're good. I just saw Tony. Is anyone from the public going to be there? So Miss Maxwell's talking to Tony's aide. But here's the real issue of the lawsuit. Now, in the lawsuit, Ms. Maxwell alleges that Trey inappropriately dumped off a naked woman at her house. But in actuality, what the texts say is there was this condominium down 30A, and apparently Ms. Maxwell had stayed there. Apparently Trey had access, and I don't know who. It doesn't say that. I'm just going to read off these texts. So I'm going to start with Trey Nick's text from February 25th, 2020 at 5:58 p.m. So not quite 6 o'clock in the evening, and he texts Miss Maxwell and says, I'm at the condo. Now what it doesn't say is I'm at the condo with a naked woman I got from Lloyd Blue, and I'll cover that later. I'm almost there. Sorry, says Miss Maxwell. FYI, Nick, I just sent this to Ryan, who I assume is naked woman's husband. Hey Ryan, quote, it's Heather. Sarah had a bit too much to drink and wasn't feeling well. Well, apparently not. She's naked at a condo on 30A and doesn't want to put her clothes on. Sorry, that was not in the quote. She got a ride to the condo where I've been staying the past few years. She got a ride. Looked like she got ridden by two men, and now Nick's left with her naked and needs to go home. She is safe. I've been sitting with her for the past hour. She is safe and sleeping on my couch. I didn't know if she had talked to you, and I didn't want you to worry. I'm at the bleep condo between Subway and Tom Thumb on 30A. Ryan said she sleeps like a bag of hammers after she drinks, so I'll just let her sleep it off. I'll put the phone in front of her, and she can call. So Heather's telling the story to Trey that she's told to somebody's husband, so Trey's now in on the story. So Heather, the person that's suing the county for firing her, and we've paid her, she's creating a lie to tell to people to get Trey and Lloyd, I guess, out of trouble. We'll go on. Trey responds, good deal, because he's a good old boy. Glad she's okay. She's doing a lot better now. Okay, I'm going to start quoting Heather again. She texted this morning and asked me what happened. I told her she drank too much at North Beach on an empty stomach, and you came and got her, Trey, and dropped her off at my condo. So Heather then lies to the person who's been blacked out about what happened to her. And I'll go further with that. Okay, I'll start quoting her again. She asked if y'all, meaning Trey and her, were fighting, and I said she was upset at you, but you were fine and just wanted to make sure she got home okay, or she was okay. I was not inclined to give her more details because I don't want her to go into a tailspin. So let me go to a new text. Well, what in the world could naked woman be going into a tailspin over besides that she's been naked with two men and doesn't remember anything but blacking out with Lloyd? This is strange. Anyway, I told her I picked back up, make sure she was okay. I'm not inclined to give her any details because I don't want her to go into a tailspin. She's talking to Trey. I think she's in a bad place right now and needs to know that she's loved. Everybody needs to know they've been loved when they've been found drunk and naked at a condo on 30A. You probably got loved. Hint, hint, hint. And Trey responds, well, thank you, my love. Well, that's strange from a woman that is getting ready to sue him. Well, thank you, my love, and thanks for your help last night. Glad she was in your care when I dumped her off. No problem at all, responds Maxwell. Anything for you, Trey. Hey, Trey, just a heads up. That's a quote. Hey, just a heads up. Sid was in the next room when you called, Trey, in a panic. She knows Sarah was drunk and you bailed her out, but that's all. I didn't give her any details. I'll just say you dropped her off. By the way, good morning, Booger Sugar. Or Sugar Booger, I'm sorry. Ma'am, I got that wrong, Trey. It's not Booger Sugar, it's Sugar Booger. With two hearts and two smiley faces. Anyway, keep moving on. I'll just say you dropped her off and watched her until Ryan came to get her. So Tony's aide responds, Sarah's texting and doesn't remember about last night. No, excuse me, that's Maxwell. Maxwell goes on to tell Tony's aide, Sarah is texting and doesn't remember much about last night. She said she doesn't remember seeing Trey at all. Well, how'd she get naked? Where'd her clothes from? What clothes did she wear home? If she showed up naked, I don't know. These are just questions that inquiring minds want to know. I don't think I'm going to tell her many details, like y'all were wrestling her naked and trying to get her covered up. Yeah, I don't know. She said she might spiral out if she knows she showed up butt naked. Yeah, and the Tony's aide says, yeah, she texted me at like 6 just trying to make small talk. And I straight up asked her how her lunch with Lloyd went. So evidently by 5:50 p.m., lunch had gone so wrong that this woman has no clothes and is being passed between Lloyd and Trey. But Heather is the pivot man, and she's got to babysit when they're done with her at the end of the day. That's how I see it. I mean, I'm just a simple man reading some simple text with a fireside chat. Bless you. Anyway, Tony's aide said she texted me at like 6 just trying to make small talk. Oh, how did she respond? Tony's aide says this, and quotes it, kind of like she clipped it out. Yes, my meeting with Lloyd was super last minute, because she's talking about that. I got fucking hammered though. I guess Trey came and got me. I woke up naked at Heather's. I don't know what the hell happened to me, Laura. What an interesting meeting with Lloyd. Hell yeah. What happened? What happened, Laura? I was fine and then I black out. So the last thing, she has no idea how she ended up naked with Trey, but she knows the last thing she remembered was blacking out with Lloyd. Do you think you can make this shit up? Man, this would make a hell of a screenplay. If you're out there in Hollywood or you're an action news reporter with all the news there is news across the nation, pardon me, sir, did you see what happened? Yeah, I did. I was sitting over there in the cornfield and here come Trey with a naked woman. Does that sound like a song? I think Ray Stevens sang it. Anyway, back to Tony's aide's conversation with the attorney about Trey. I was fine and then I black out, says naked woman. That's pretty much what she sent me, says the attorney, Maxwell. She didn't know what happened. I'm not going to give her the details. But then again, I don't know how many details other than Trey and I had to about wrestle her to cover her up and get her inside. Yep, naked woman was on a terror down 30A somewhere. Has she said anything else about the meeting with Lloyd? Maxwell says nothing. I just didn't respond to her after she answers my question. And y'all all know that Tony Anderson answers to Lloyd and Shipman. That's pretty much common knowledge, right? Okay, everybody shake your head. If you're watching politics and you're following Alan Osborne show, follow the money, because that's what we're doing. Has she said anything else about the meeting with Lloyd? Nothing. I just didn't respond, says Tony's aide, to her after she answered my question. And then she has a little emoji of her eyes roll back in her head like, oh my God. Okay, anyway. And then Tony's aide says, Lloyd texted me before 6 a.m. responding to a text I sent him yesterday. I'm not going to mention it again to him. It's his business, but naked woman, she says she, made him look shady as fuck. Well, it's pretty shady if you go to lunch and then you black out at lunch and wake up naked with another man. Yeah, that's pretty shady. Funny, she texts me 10 minutes later also responding from a random text. Do you think he, meaning Lloyd, texted her to prompt you to text her? Because I think Lloyd's married to Tony's aide's sister. And she responds, shady shit, with a purple person hanging up their hands. First of all, he's not going to meet her in public if he's up to something, but I don't think she put him in that position. Yeah, yeah, being naked with a man refusing to get dressed and having to leave with another man naked, that's a hell of a position. What position is that? I'd say it's head down and hind end up, if you ask me. Anyway, so I'll skip on to what the attorney says. Probably innocent and nothing to it. Sure. Just wound up naked on 30A. Just totally innocent. You know, lunches go like that sometimes with Lloyd. Just an innocent thing. Trey too. But they still didn't mention, and that's something they would normally mention. Yeah, I think Lloyd and Trey would mention having a naked woman to deal with and other shit. I give Lloyd the benefit of the doubt. I know he's a smart and savvy guy, and that normally wouldn't let that happen. But you know Sarah, be a damn force of nature. It says if nature, but I think she means of nature. When she lets loose. Woohoo! Let loose, baby. If Lloyd had to call Trey for the assist, then you know Lloyd was probably like, holy shit. What the fuck is happening here? Dang it. I'm sorry, I read from the public record. I wasn't going to drop the F-bomb. But if the elected officials and the county attorneys are dropping them, and they're saying the N-word, how can I tell you if I don't say it? I'm just quoting people, you know. I'm innocent bystander here. I don't know how to shit. You know, anyway. I'm sure it was innocent, responds Tony's aide, but sure turned messy. I don't like she's saying that she was with Lloyd and then blacked out. Well, I guess you don't. Bet your sister hates it worse. Yeah, I do agree with that. She told me she didn't eat all day. How's she gonna eat? She's that drunk. And it was hitting her hard. I tried to give her toast and crackers, but she wasn't having it. So So the attorney's all involved in this shit, yet when she sues, they pay her. You know why? Because they all just wanted it to go away. And Glidewell's deposition is full of lies he gets caught in. I'm going to have another fireside chat about Danny. And then we'll get into Chucky's tax liens and some further stuff like that, because you just can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is a screenplay for Hollywood. So back to the text. Here we go. Oh, then she warns Laura that Sydney might tell on her, and Tony's aide says, "Shit, Sarah tried to call me earlier and I didn't answer." Uh-oh. We think Naked Woman wants to tell Sydney and Larry everything. No wonder they wanted Larry fired too. Larry wasn't no good anyway. But let's see if there's anything else here worth talking about on this fireside chat. Yeah, I think she's pretty much heard the gist of it, and I was like, yeah, she's going to go straight to Larry, which, whatever. Nothing about Lloyd and that will get out from me. So the attorney takes an oath of silence not to tell the truth here. I wonder if that's a bar complaint issue. I'm not sure it's a huge surprise to her. Well, she probably is aware that she woke up without her clothes. You're right. Probably not a huge surprise, but I don't know how often it happens. Maybe there's no surprise at all. Maybe you're surprised as hell if you wake up naked next to Trey. God almighty, what a nightmare. She should have looked surprised. Sarah did it to herself, claims Tony's aide. I talked to Trey a little earlier. Is he in shock? Oh, is he still shook? Oh, so it shook Trey up. He couldn't get rid of Naked Woman. Had to leave her at the condo. Let me see. Hold on. I got to skip down to read it. He sounded okay, but the attorney told Trey, she says, I told him for whatever reason, Naked Girl craves his attention, and he's basically a trigger for her. Well, how the hell did that happen? Isn't this a family man from Choctaw Beach? Endorsed by the Gates? Isn't this the man? Not from what the hell I read. Ah, dang it, I cussed again. Anyway, basically a trigger for her. Last night wasn't his fault, but if he's around her, he's going to have to treat her with care. Yeah, when he's going to have a fling with her, he cannot get her drunk and leave her naked with the other county employees. I mean, seems reasonable enough, and Tony's aide agrees. She says, I agree with all of that. I totally feel for her, but damn. That's what I say, Tony's aide. But damn, that's some shit, isn't it? So we get on down to this. Let's see what else is that. So then Dee Dee High Note jumps in on it. She wants to find out what's going on. And somehow there's an issue where Trey has had a vehicle. It goes on to say that Trey's had a vehicle at District 4 during this time frame, but it's been in the county attorney's budget, but nobody's going to look at that. So the ex-county attorney tells Maxwell, go ahead and put a new one back in there. But they all know that Trey's got this vehicle. Is what it says. Trey writes them back and says, did you have the iPad at the boardroom today? And she says, I have it with me, the black one in the conference room, but I didn't know who it belonged to. Hey, do y'all still have the legal vehicle? Not quite sure what happened with that. How you going to be in Defuniac? Yes, ma'am, I'll be there. I forgot what you look like. Send me a picture, booger sugar, my love. So Trey's not 2 days out of Naked Woman, and he wants the county attorney to send him a picture of her. What should she wear, Trey? That's my question. Yes, ma'am, I will be there. I forgot what you look like. Send me a picture, laugh out loud. What does the county attorney say? Because she's going to sue him because he treats her bad. Oh, damn it, cut that part off. I have to go find it. Anyway, so there's lovely conversations. And there's conversations with Dee Dee. But, you know, folks, I think that's enough for tonight's fireside chat. So, Trey, congratulations on being able to not have anything investigated on my ethics commission. I never got interviewed. I never got my public records in time to supplement the ethics complaint, so you'll get to see all this again. But then nobody will talk about it. So maybe the ethics board is not the right place to take this issue. Maybe it's to you, the voters. Have you had enough of Biden on TV? Have you had enough of the politicians like this, like Chuck Wilder and phony Tony Anderson? I mean, all you people who love Tony, how y'all feel about that? Violation, screams Tony. You can't make this shit up. Anybody says I'm lying, send me your email. Email me and I'll send you original copies I got from the court records. Because if I was lying, wouldn't they sue me over it? When they say that's false information, Alan, why? Do you ever ask yourself, why don't they just sue that crazy ass? Well, I'm telling the truth. And I'll tell you, I don't know why that got out of focus like it. Anyway, I guess it like, hold on a second. Well, folks, it seems we're having a little camera focus difficulties, but that's okay. I'm just a blur. All the focus should be on the man behind me. And let's hear it for Trey Nick for calling it like he sees it on everything. Good job, Trey. You know, Trey, you shouldn't have messed around with the Constitution. And you and Lucky Chucky should have listened to what I said at that constitutional speech in Freeport that time. But you believe you're above the law. I don't believe you are. So I ask you, the voters, do these actions sound like the people you want entrusted with your tax money? Not on the Alan Osborne Show. If you're an Alan Osborne Show fan, you'll vote against this. And until next time, you can't make this shit up, but you can unelect it. See you next time, Trey.